Hello and welcome to this video. My name is Smári. In this one we are going to learn about the skewer. What is a skewer? A skewer is a reversed pin. Now the more valuable piece is in front. In the previous video we learned about pins, and here is an example of a pin where the black bishop is pinning the white rook. The more valuable piece is here behind the less valuable one, meaning that the king on b1 is the more valuable piece and he's behind the rook on e4. If we turn this around and put the king in front and the rook behind, then we have a skewer. When the more valuable piece, here the king, moves out of harm's way or out of the line of attack, the piece behind it gets captured. So in this case, the rook. The king has to move and then the bishop can come and take the rook. And here's the value of the pieces. The king is the most valuable piece. The pawn is the least valuable. So in a skewer, there can never be anything in front of the king. But the king is often in front of something that gets captured. And line pieces can skewer. So those are the bishops, rooks, and queens, and they are the line pieces since they move along lines. And line pieces are the ones that can skewer enemy pieces. And these are the same pieces that can also pin. Now let's see some skewers in action. So here we have our first example. It is the black rook that is skewering the white pieces. Notice how the more valuable piece is in front, that's the king, and the less valuable piece is behind, that's the queen. So the king has to move out of the way because he's in check, and then we can take the queen behind. That's what the skewer is all about. So king moves out of the way, and now we can simply take the queen. Another example, the bishop on f3 is checking the king, and behind the king is a less valuable piece. When the black king moves, we can take the rook. So king moves, and now the bishop can take the rook. Notice that white is not afraid of losing the bishop because he got a more valuable piece than he lost. He got a rook for a bishop. Another example, example number 3. The black queen on c1 is skewering the white pieces, the king on c3 and the knight on c7. So the king is obviously more valuable than the knight. The king has to move out of the line of attack, and then the knight behind the king gets captured by the black queen. So like this, and take. And example number 4, can you see which piece is skewering two black pieces? So the only line piece that white has is the bishop, so it is the bishop that is skewering the rook and the knight. The rook is more valuable than the knight, and the rook wants to move out of the way because otherwise the bishop will take it. So when the rook moves, the bishop can take the knight. So rook moves and bishop takes knight. All right, and now let's do a couple of exercises to see if you can find the skewer. So here it is black to move and do a skewer. So try to find two white pieces that are on the same line. That's what's going to help you find the skewer, just like when you're looking for pins. And the two white pieces on the same line are the king and the rook. Therefore the move is rook d8. So the king is the more valuable piece. The king has to move out of the line of attack, out of the d file, and then the black rook can come down and take the white rook. All right, next exercise. Exercise 2. White to move and do a skewer. White has 3 line pieces, 2 rooks and 1 bishop. Which one of those can do a skewer? And the answer is bishop d4. So This skewers the king and the bishop. The king is in check and has to move out of the way. Behind the king is a less valuable piece that is unprotected and will fall. So king has to move somewhere where it can't protect the bishop. And now it can take the bishop. Exercise 3, black to move. It looks like black doesn't have any line pieces, but still black can skewer. How does he do it? Notice how white has two important pieces on the same line, which is the first rank. That's why the move that black does is to push his pawn to a1, promote it to a queen, and then we have a skewer. The king now has to move out of the way, and then the black queen can come and take the white queen. So king moves, and yummy yummy, queen in my tummy, said the black queen. All right, exercise number 4, black to move. Again, black doesn't have a lot of pieces, as you can see, but white has two pieces on the same line, which is a diagonal. Therefore, the move is again to push the pawn, promote it to a queen, and do this beautiful diagonal skewer. So the king has to move out of the way, and then the black queen can take the white queen, like this, and like that. And final exercise, white to move. White has lots of line pieces, but only one of them will do a successful skewer. What is the move? The move is bishop d4. So what this does is this will actually win more than one piece. So we're actually skewering 3 black pieces here. So the queen, the pawn, and the rook, they're all being skewered. The queen can escape, but after the queen moves, we first take the pawn, and then afterwards the rook can't escape the bishop, so we'll actually win the rook too. Alright, we'll stop here. Skewers are very common tactics, among the most common ones, so make sure that you look for skewers when you are playing your chess games. They will definitely help you win your games. I thank you very much for watching this video, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.